So, how does a blind guy do any kind of woodwork? And it's a really good question. I should have mentioned it before. And for a long time, when I could still see a little bit, I used a jeweler's loop, which I used to have on my neck, hanging around my neck, and I used to stick it in my eye and peer at a tape measure, and invariably get it wrong because the jeweler's loop would get in the way. And then finally, I discovered a wonderful organization in England called Cobalt, and they make a variety of talking gadgets. And the best of all is a talking tape measure.
Including case, 95 millimeters.
So that's on now. It means you're including the case, so we won't include the case for this particular
0
thing.
millimeters.
And we need to find something to measure, so we'll take an arbitrary piece of wood, and I can now tell you with some
86 millimeters. 191 millimeters.
191 millimeters wide.
173 millimeters. 177 millimeters.
And 177 millimeters deep. So I'm now confident that this is exactly what it is, and if I need to cut, I would then mark it and work on the saw. Would you like to see me, Would you like to see me cut?
Let's do it.
Oh, you must step back because blood's hard to wipe off. So
Turning off in 5 seconds.
I'm just looking for the business end. That's there. There we go. Okay. Praise not on. The trick about cutting anything, if you're blind particularly, is if a sighted person, and my daughter's really cunning with this saw. My wife always says that she has a freak out every time I turn this thing on. She hears it in the house and she holds her breath, which is dangerous because I use this a lot. And she's gone to someone. She knows I won't cut myself, but she's still nervous. And my daughter's now become very competent on this saw, and she uses, of course, you can see, of course, is that she draws a line in the wood, and then she cuts along the line, and she's really good. I cannot do that. I've never been able to do that, and so the only way you can cut something. Now here's a little short piece of wood. I'm not going to make anything with it, but I'll demonstrate. There's two things one needs. Is you've got to have a jig, and I need to get over there, I'm afraid. So I had when you buy the saw, it comes with a little guide which runs on these two tracks. And the ones you buy are toys, they're rubbish. Okay, so I had one made, and I went to a machine shop and I actually had them make a decent guide which runs, and so when I'm cutting, I am absolutely sure that it'll be a 90-degree cut. That's very important. And so I can be completely competent when I cut this. So let's see. Now let's have a look at what we want.
Including case, 95 millimeters.
What you do is you hold the wood, you put the wood up to the blade. Now the blade's off, obviously. Sometimes it's a good idea to unplug while you're doing this, but I know it's off, so it's fine at the moment. And I'm going to say I want to cut this thing,
including case, 207 millimeters.
207 millimeters. So I now move the wood a little bit of experience helps here, and I find if I overshoot just by a hair, perhaps a mil, and there's an old saying, measure twice and cut once. There's nothing wrong with cutting a little bit proud, so you're a little bit too much. Nothing wrong with that. You can always sand it off or cut it even further. Cut it short and you're screwed. So
turning off in 5 seconds.
I'm now confident that that is exactly where I want. It's going to make a hell of a racket. I'm not sure what that's going to do to the camera. Pull it back a bit. Bring the cover down. There are times when you can't actually cut with the cover. Literally, there's some good reasons why sometimes you physically can't. But in this particular case you can. My hands are protected now because this is here. Even if my hands drift, they cannot be hurt because this is in the way. Alright, so now we turn the fire. So now it's going to make a noise, big noise. what I failed to think about was that I didn't actually measure. I didn't take the blade up. I was cutting something smaller. What's very important when you're cutting is to, I will undo it, is to make sure that your blade is literally only 2 or 3 mils above the surface of the wood. What I didn't do was there we go. Now it would cut through. Shouldn't have it too much above the wood because then it tends to actually tear a little bit. So let's start all over again. Let's do it again. Well, let's measure something slightly different.
Including case, 95 millimeters. 188 millimeters, including case.
Okay, something a bit smaller.
175 millimeters.
Alright, let's try again.
including case.
175. Sorry about the error there. So move the wood along till it's nearly.
Not including case, 80 millimeters.
No, don't line up.
Including case, 175
There we go.
millimeters.
So we want to make it 175, and it's just a hair proud.
95 millimeters, including case.
I need to plug me in.
Turning off in 5 seconds.
Now we need to drop the guard again. The guard rather. Look at the back of it.
$175 millimeters.
175 mils.